Hey everyone! Welcome to Online Card Classes Crafty Chat, Episode 9. Today we are chatting with Angie Backman and Greg Cottrell, the owners of Concord and Ninth, about what it's like to be a new stamp company.
Hey everybody! Welcome to Episode 9 of Online Card Classes Crafty Chat. My name is Lydia Fiedler. My day job is being the community manager of SplitCoastStampers.com. And in my free time, I blog at understandblue.com. And today we have with us from Online Card Classes, Christina Werner.
Hey guys, my name is Christina Werner. I blog at kwernerdesign.com and do card videos and art stuff. And then I'm also one of the co-founders here at onlinecardclasses.com.
And Jennifer McGuire.
Hello, I'm Jennifer McGuire. I am the other co-founder of Online Card Classes, and you can find me either in my car driving my kids everywhere or at jennifermcguireinc.com. So we're glad you're here. Thanks for joining us.
And our guests today are two of my favorite people in the world, Greg Cottrell and Angie Backman from Concord and Ninth, a new-ish stamp company. So Greg and Angie, why don't you guys introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about Concord and Ninth?
Okay, well, I'm Angie Backman, and I have been crafting for really a very long time. I'm a single mom of, I would say, a child, but she's an adult, so we've just been the two of us for a very long time, and I, figured it was time to do something for us and for ourselves, and I worked in the crafting industry at a large corporate craft company for 12 years before taking this Concord and Ninth leap with Greg here, so it's been really, really fun.
Okay, and I'm Greg Cottrell, and I'm the other co-owner of Concord and Ninth. I'm married. My wife's name is Allison, and we have two children. Evie, she is 11, and our son Caleb, he is 5. And Angie and I, we go back probably like 6 years now. We had worked together, and we both really have always just worked well together. We have similar, stylistically, we are drawn to similar things, but and so, like, we always have just kind of meshed well that way, like, creatively. And so, yeah, so we decided that we wanted to dive into this other segment of the crafting industry, and that's a little less corporate and a little more like this with you guys, and just all the fun people, like the different personalities in the industry. And, yeah, and it's been a blast so far. I mean,
been so fun.
More laughs than tears, so...
Good.
Yeah. In fact, very little tears. We've had a blast. It's been a lot of fun so far. So.
How long has it been since you officially hung up that shingle and opened your business?
So I left my full-time employment in April of last year. So it's just been a little over a year for me, and then Angie joined me 2 months later, and
I left in June of last year, and then our first launch date was August 9th of 2015.
Wow, so you guys hit the ground running.
Yeah.
We had to. We left our full-time employment, and we...
For anybody that's done that, that's seriously like, I don't know, it's like one of those things, like, you have to experience that feeling of leaving full-time employment with all the benefits and things that do come with that. There is no way to describe how nerve-wracking that is, and just totally putting your faith in everything else in the universe, hoping everything comes together,
and working hard to make it happen.
And a little over a year later now, we look back and we're like, we were nuts, but it's working now, and things, and yeah, we only gave ourselves a few months to get that initial launch put together, and a lot of sleepless nights and long days, and it came together, and here we are a year later.
I think all 5 of us actually have done exactly what you're describing, and I think the word that you left out was completely terrifying.
Yes.
Terrifying.
I can tell you, okay, so the exact day that I left full-time employment was April 10th. That was my last day working full-time, and my son, he was still 4 at the time, he comes and sleeps in our bed almost every night. And he came and he just laid in there and he looked at me and he was just like laying there staring at me and I was staring back at him. And I can't tell you the amount of panic. You know that like middle of the night panic that hits sometimes like at like 2 in the morning and you're like, whoa, what am I? Your night mind is never your right mind kind of thing.
Yeah.
I just looked at him and I was like, I have got to take care of this little kid, you know, and that's motivation right there for me. We've had different things motivating us, and terrifying is a good way to put it.
Well, I think the difference is Christina doesn't have kids, and Lydia doesn't have kids, and I didn't have kids yet when I quit. So you guys took it to a whole new level with having kids.
I had an adult at the time, so I did tell her, if this doesn't work out, then I'll move to the basement, you move upstairs, and we'll trade places.
There you go.
When years ago, when it was my first job out of college, and I was leaving that job, and I didn't have anything like lined up, and so I was, like you were saying, completely terrified. And my favorite, well, yeah, it is my favorite. My favorite movie of all time is You've Got Mail. So if you guys have seen this movie, I'm totally gonna like describe a scene and give you a quote here. There's a scene in the movie, and this is not giving away too much, but Kathleen Kelly, played by Meg Ryan, decides she's going to have to close her shop because business is going downhill. And so she goes to her friend's house, and her friend says to her, closing the shop is the brave thing to do. You're daring to live, or what is it? You're daring to imagine your life in a different way. And I remember, like, watching that movie, like, it was the day before I turned in my resignation letter. I was watching that movie, and I was like, it's the brave thing to do. I was like totally talking myself up to do it. But so whenever I hear of anyone quitting a job or they're going out and just going on faith, I keep thinking, it's the brave thing to do. You're daring to imagine your life in a different way. I'm paraphrasing the quote. That's not the exact quote, but totally life-changing for me.
Yeah, that is so true. And it's funny because everybody I've talked to, they say that, like, oh my gosh, you guys are so brave. And you don't feel real brave at the time. You feel really stupid.
Yeah.
But now that we're, like, kind of getting a little more used to this, it feels like, yeah, that is kind of a brave thing to do. Like,
it was a huge leap of faith, but I trusted this one here, and we made a pinky promise.
Well, the funny thing was, she said, so Angie said, this is great, so who's going to design? Like, you know how to design, Greg? Because I left a more strategic product role where it's like defining product strategies and what do we need to come out with and how much revenue does this drive and, you know, things a lot more on the business side of product development. And I had these dusty skills in the closet of, like, I don't know, let's just pull those skills out of the closet for a minute and try to see if we can dust them off.
So you didn't go into it as a designer?
Into the business? This
Yeah.
business? No. We were going to outsource. We didn't know what we were doing. And so Angie has phenomenal ideas. I have some skills that can help execute on those ideas, and it's a good match as far as, like, having the right skill sets, I think, to do some product development. And Angie's not afraid to, she never hesitates to tell me if something looks, like, hideous.
I never say hideous.
No, she's really nice about it. She's like, I would maybe do that differently, and so then I go back to the drawing board, and I'm like, is this better looking? And she's like, love it, you know. And so then we know we're onto something, and we're good checks and balances, I think, because we have those different skill sets. Angie's been a lot more into, like, the crafting side of the business, and she knows the customer's mind, and I know the customer's mind in, like, different ways, and so we try to just, what are they going to love? Like, what can we make that's hopefully irresistible to a portion of this market, you know? And
because one of the things that I can really tell about your product, your irresistible product, is that a crafter works there. And the way that I knew a crafter worked there was when you came out with, I feel like there should be dramatic music inserted here, the little tree die. Tell us the story of the tree die. Oh, you have it right there? Of course, everybody should. I have my little tree up behind me.
It's actually the only one in our possession, so don't forget.
Don't order it.
Yeah.
It's not available.
Yeah. Were you as excited as we were when you got that product and to prototype it?
Yes.
Well, we knew that we wanted to do something for the holidays that would work on cards, but also I am a paper crafter at heart, so I have loved making things out of paper, whether it's cards or 3D items, things to hang around my home. So I had made some 3D trees in the past, but nothing, it's different than what we came up with. So honestly, we just kind of have a conversation back and forth about how it could work, the best use of time. So how can we make this so that you get as few pass-throughs through the big shot as possible? And that's where the double branch came from, and like the holes in the middle. And Greg's the genius behind the sizing and making it stack up to little snowflakes.
There's sometimes where like Angie's like, okay, that's a cool idea, but how do? And I think my mind's a little more the engineering. Like I love how things work, and so Angie's like, let's do something that like does this, and I'm like, cool. And then my job, I go and I like try to think through how is it gonna all come together. And that idea honestly started as, well, we were just thinking through holiday. I know it was August last year, so we were a little bit behind, but we were just launched, and so we were like, we liked the idea of something that does like a little pine bough or a little pine sprig on cards and things like that. And then we're like, well, what if we're like those exist, like somebody has those. So, and then we just got crazy. We're like, well, what if it made like a cute little tree? And then that's kind of where, and then it just, that's where the bouncing ideas back and forth, and we try to one-up each other with, oh yeah, well, what if it can do this? And then, so I think that friendly competition of, ooh, what if it, and we just bounce those ideas back and forth until, like, it magically appears, and then...
It magically appears.
But that's how that kind of came about, and I think that was one of those... When we were finished with the design and we had prototyped it, we were like, I was like, this could really, like, this could help Concord and Ninth become more recognizable more quickly, hopefully. Like any new company, new brand that starts up you want people to know who you are. I think that's one of the challenges of being a new startup brand is how do we get people to know about us? And so I think we know, like, okay, our products have to be interesting and different enough, because there's a lot of different brands in the industry and phenomenal companies that we've looked up to for years and things, and we're like, well, we don't want to be them because they are them, and how do we be us? Like, who are we? And over the last year, we've kind of just really started to develop who we are, our look and feel, and one of the things we try to do with speaking to like Take a Bow, is we try to think through less conventional die and stamp pairings. That's kind of one of the niches that we are trying to develop for ourselves, and sometimes it's worked really well, and other times we've been like, okay, well, we probably could have done this differently, but you live and you learn and you move on. And
well, the number of little sold out tags on the website seem to indicate that that's going well.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, no,
yes, it is, but it's coming back so soon, really soon.
Yeah, no,
this weekend.
It's been, well, and there's lots of influencers. We're talking to 3 amazing influencers in this industry that people really look to, and we're still kind of like wading through that whole, how much of the stuff do we need, and apparently it's always more than we think.
That's good, though.
Good problem to have.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
It's a good problem to have.
I think a lot of people, we've talked about this in past chats, like a lot of people don't realize how hard it is for a small company like you to order huge quantities.
Yes.
And have that just sitting and ready to ship out. And then, a big online store comes and orders a gazillion from you, and you're like, I only have half a gazillion, you know?
Yeah.
So it's hard on many levels, you know? And
That
I,
is so true.
I get
That is
that,
so
and
true.
especially when you're starting up like you guys are.
Physically, talk about your space. Like, where are you right now, and what is the Concord and Ninth office?
Yeah.
Okay.
If our computer wasn't so wired up to all these things, I would take you on a virtual tour. But you're essentially seeing most of our workspace right behind us. I mean,
This is the north wall
yeah. So,
where the north warehouse is. See this?
I love it.
just
I
a little
love it.
But no,
That's where you pull the truck up to, right?
yeah, it's got a loading dock and everything. It's crazy.
Elevator. It's really neat.
No, so it's a 14 by 14 foot studio, and it's I hope people still take us seriously after this. No, but it's a small little studio, and luckily the products we send out are really small. So I mean, and then we overflow into the garage and things like that. But yeah, it's a small space, and
But we do have one wall, which is the fulfillment center. You saw the warehouse. The east wall is the crafting zone.
that we.
Oh, it's really a mess. Don't do that.
That's okay.
Oh,
So
we know, Angie.
oh, that looks good.
Yeah, so that's that. Here, there's our photography studio.
Which is
You see that desk over by the window? Christina, we took your idea on the lights. Thank you.
Perfect.
And I can't stretch the cord any further to show our fulfillment center, but
Well, see,
It's
I think
wire
this is
wraps.
good. I think this is really good because everybody, I think it shows you start somewhere, and you guys are going to grow so fast that I bet if we talk to you very soon, you're going to have maybe two rooms or something. But
Yeah.
you got to start somewhere, and you guys have done really well with that, and you guys are known for great customer service too. So that's
good.
That's good. That's something we try to. I don't know. We just love having good customer experiences ourselves, and we're like, what do we love about customer service at other places? And it's really just.
It's
being
not
real.
hard to have. I mean, just respond to the emails and be honest. And
Yeah, try not to make up excuses. We're just sorry. We wish we had it too. You know, we wish we had that.
I do wish it was.
We've
here.
only had like a small handful of people who have been a little bit feisty with us, but a little sweet talk, and they're right back with us.
Describe. We wanted to talk to you since you've had this experience, and I know you and I have talked about this a lot about how the crafting community kind of welcomed you as a new company and what that was like. So, you know, since we all come from different types of backgrounds that weren't necessarily crafty, what was it like coming into, you know, a well-established craft industry as a small stamp company?
Well, I had admired all this community from outside. I've been following everybody for a long time and stalking people on Instagram and whatnot. But it was very different once we launched and started producing samples on Instagram and things like that. I was actually pleasantly surprised at the response, even from other brands. Dawn from W+9 is always commenting on our stuff, and I was just like, this is not what I expected. I don't know what I expected, but everyone is so kind and so welcoming, and I love the encouraging comments. And I mean, of course, it's nice to hear when people like things, and yeah.
And I think we weren't sure what we were going to expect. I mean, we were from a much more corporate environment, and it was a lot more just about what we were doing there, but we kind of longingly looked at like this other corner of the market where like, oh, these people, they all seem really kind, and they are. It's been proven time and again, like every interaction we have with other people in this industry has been very positive. People are just so kind. And I was actually at CHA when I ran into you. We went to lunch, like Jennifer and Kathy Rakusin was there, and Christina, and then all of a sudden, like, I was like, oh, there's Dawn from W+9, and I'm like, and then Danielle from Neat and Tangled, and I was like, is this happening? Like, are we supposed to be at the same table? Like, am I supposed to be at the cool kids table? But everybody was so kind, and like the way people just talked openly about trials and challenges of running their businesses, or those who, the influencers and things that were around the table, and those crafters that they're talking about their challenges and their successes and things, and it was just kind of like this understanding of, if we're all going to succeed as an industry, then we all need to like play together in the sandbox. And we've had no interactions that have been contrary to that. Every interaction we've had has been just amazing and welcoming. Yeah. And there's still so many people we haven't met, but I'm sure that it's consistent. I mean, I would hope that it's consistent across the industry. And we're lovers, not fighters. We don't want to make enemies, you know? Life's so much better if you're just trying to help each other out and stuff. And so we've just been so overwhelmingly happy with where we are, and with how welcoming everybody has been.
Well, we were very impressed that you went to lunch with, what, 12 of us?
Yeah, it was a big group.
12 women, and we were kind of, I don't know.
We let our hair down, to put it lightly.
Yeah.
We let our hair down.
It was great. He just jumped right in, and we wished Angie would have been there with us, but we were impressed.
As do I. Now, don't let this innocent face fool you.
I'm not that innocent. I'm not that bad.
He had a great time at the lunch, and we discussed the lunch often, as if I were at the lunch.
Yeah. Andrew's like, remember when we were at CHA? I was like, nope, I don't remember. That lunch was that was a turning point, though, I think, for us as a business. It was proving everything that we had hoped for. Like, these people all just seemed so nice and things, and everybody was. And everybody really just smart business people that are very interested in maintaining. I guess everybody just realized, like, we all have a role in helping creative industry thrive, and
yeah, and there's room for everybody, and it does everybody good. Yeah.
There's room for me at the table, so.
Well, one of the things that also is kind of different about you that I noticed in the beginning as just a huge fan and follower, and I did not at the time know that there was this Steve Jobs 14x14 situation going on, because you were so well branded and everything was so polished. It was amazing. I figured you did have a giant office somewhere, but is that you were all over social, and you were so good at it. I remember kind of bonding with you on Instagram, and you always went back and commented on everybody making cards with your very earliest releases, and you were so nice. And I have to say, as a crafter, it's a huge deal when the company whose products you're using comes back and says something, you know, on your Instagram. You get all, you know, fangirl when that happens. And you guys were just so nice and rushed into that. I don't understand how you did that. Did social, did the shipping and receiving, did the designing. I'm assuming you have not slept since last August.
We have a process down now, and we kind of have our roles, but we do trade hats once in a while. But social media was super important to me because I understood that's how we all communicate to each other with, you know, as friends, not living in the same states or things like that. So, and I mean, it's nice of you to say that crafters get excited when the company responds, but it's actually super exciting for me to see people using our products. Like, I look at the hashtag Concord and 9th every day.
Multiple times a day.
Multiple times. Like, and even after work, even if I'm on the couch watching TV, I'll look at it because I do want to see what people are making. I'm just as inspired by what other people are doing. So it's heartwarming for me to see the products being used.
So I have a question. When you mentioned the hashtag, it reminded me I was going to ask this. How did you come up with the name Concord and 9th?
That's a good question. So about a year ago, last June, we were designing products, and then we were like, we need to send off packaging files, and we don't have a name. So, we're like, we probably need to work on branding and quick. And so we had ideas. Angie liked things that were like classy and posh, wanted something that sounded sophisticated. And I was like, that's cool. And then I like ideas crossing, like intersections, because creativity is all about ideas intersecting. When you talk to another creative person, it's inevitable you're going to come up with some crazy ideas that are going to be amazing. And so I liked the whole idea behind cross sections. And so
I sort of have an addiction to ampersands. So I was like, if we could just have an ampersand in the title, I really like just the design of it as well. So then
we just started talking about, we just started coming up, we were like, well, what are all these famous intersections in the world? And just started throwing different ideas around and names. And then I was like, well, what street do you live on? She's like, I live off of 9th. Well, I live on Concord, and so we're Concord and 9th. I'm Concord, she's 9th.
Hello.
And that's how it all came together. And so I don't know if it's our logo. We tried to play off a little bit of a street sign, a nod to a street sign without being that bright green. We went with some more current colors that we were more comfortable with, and then the rest of the branding and stuff, we just kind of, to speak to Lydia's comments earlier about how quickly we branded ourselves, we just liked clean and simple, and so our packaging is real basic, but we love it. We love our logo, and we like the meaning behind our name, and
we tested it out on a few people. We're like, so
we ran it by friends and family, and they were, some of them it took a little more explaining because they're not as creative. We love them, but they're like, okay, but most people just picked up on it right away, and we're like, that's a really cool name, and it's kind of easy to say, Concord and 9th. It's not a mouthful, so.
Yeah. Now, Greg, do you craft at all? Do you do any of the samples?
Greg?
So here's the deal. All right. I have always been a creative person. From the time I was born, I've always been, had a little bit of an artistic side to me. But I'll be honest, before Concord and 9th, I had never made a card.
Well, no, that's not true.
No.
You hadn't maybe concepted the card yourself.
Yeah, I would copy somebody. We'd have, at our previous jobs, we had stamp days or whatever, so I copy exactly what somebody else made. I've always had an immense appreciation, though, because I've worked in the crafting industry for 8 or 9 years now, and so I've had a huge appreciation and passion for the people that do this. But my role has always been a lot more in the product management and product development side of things, like working with manufacturers and working closely with designers, but not actually designing myself. But I can tell you, though, there's something when you have actually physically carried out the design of a product, you can't help but want to make part of it. Yeah, so I actually, I do jump in and help. The 8th of the month is always our cram day of, oh crap, we're launching tomorrow. We got to knock out some samples, and so
it's me yelling help. Help!
All 4 hands on deck, and we both knock out samples, and
he's very good at it.
But yeah.
No, it's all those French fries. It's French fries power, Concord and 9th.
Yes.
So your release day is the 9th of every month, right?
The 9th of every month, and that's been our...
It's another tie-in. We want people to remember Concord and 9th, and it's, it's July 9th. Wait, 9th. Oh, I should order from Concord.
And with the other companies in the industry, too, we know they have kind of their days, and we feel like we scoured the industry, and we're like, nobody else is doing the 9th. We can carve that out as our day, and let so and so have this day. And yeah, it's been working so far, and for the foreseeable future, we will continue to release on the 9th and until, we come up with something better. So, but it's working, and it's been really good for us. And
it's a good deadline.
For planning and things. We
sure does roll around fast, though.
Yeah, I know.
They come really fast.
I swear there's 24 months in a year. Nobody, because it feels like we blink and then we're like there again,
Okay, so if you could go back and give yourself advice a year ago, what would you tell your 2015 Angie and Greg? Oh, and Greg, by the way, I'm sorry. Apparently, I've been saying your name wrong the whole time.
Oh.
I'm going to have to retrain myself not to say Cottrell.
Yeah, it's Cottrell, but I never correct people because guess what? There are Cottrells too. Like, I've met people with my last name and they're like, oh, I'm so-and-so Cottrell. And I'm like, oh, I'm Greg Cottrell. It's nice to meet you. So.
You're like, I'm fancy.
I'm a little more proper, but no, but don't worry about it.
So what would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself it's all going to be okay if you just work hard and really believe in what you're about to do, and to make sure that what you are putting out there in front of the world is worth it, like is worthwhile. Angie and I have actually talked about this lately. Marketing, when you're in a new business, you really need to have a marketing plan of how because it doesn't matter how good your product is. If nobody knows about it, then good luck. So have a marketing plan, but also have your product, whether it's a goods or service, have it be something that's worth talking about, because there's no sense in putting something out there either that nobody wants to talk about. And if you don't hit that all the time, like if you don't come out with something that's not worth talking about, pick yourself up and like move on. Start coming up with, well, what else is worth talking about? And there just were so many sleepless nights, but I also think that's kind of what drove us too. I say to myself, don't worry so much, but then at the same time, I'm a person, I deal with anxiety on a very real level, but I think to a certain extent it's what drives us to be successful too. If it doesn't, it's so cliche, but if it doesn't kill you, it can make you stronger. And I think that is what drives a lot of these super successful people. I think a lot of them do struggle with being anxious and nervous and some fear, but when you can overcome that, you can do great things. So, I don't know. I'm so long-winded too. I hope you guys love listening to me, but
we do. What about you, Angie? What would you tell 2015 Angie?
I would tell myself kind of the same thing. Like, the leap was worth it, every minute of it, and every long work day or work night, whatever. I would say that I would learn a lot in the upcoming year, and I just feel like we learn by doing. We honestly, there are things we don't know the answer to, but we will dig in and find out. But it really, truly was the best decision that I've made, as scary as it was. I am just really happy with where we're at, and I would probably also tell myself, allow a little more time in doing things, because it always, things do take longer than you anticipate that they will. And
even when something goes smoothly, it still takes a little longer than we anticipate. And even when there are no hiccups. Okay, well, we should have given ourselves like maybe another week on that.
Right. I think that's something people would like to hear is how long does it take? Let's say if nothing goes wrong, okay, how long does it take from a design to a stance set or a die that you can sell?
So we're constantly just bringing in ideas and things, and we use Pinterest boards, like private Pinterest boards, where we keep our ideas and things, so that we're constantly in that mode of innovating. And like, we have some fun things that we're excited about for the holiday season that just started as like something totally unrelated to crafting, and then we're like, that's cool, how can we bring that into a paper crafting realm, you know, and so that's constant. That's always churning. But then when we need to come up with like a concrete strategy of what do we want to do for our customers this month, you know, it's about I hate to admit it, but we're like a month and a half to 2 months out, and that's really, really
Scary.
nerve-wracking. Still, we're working to open that a little bit more and give us a little more breathing room, and so we can plan maybe quarterly, plan a few months at a time, and we're at a place where we're kind of starting to do that. I mean, we're working on August and September right now, and even thinking into October, which is very different from the world we came from, where we worked like 18 months out. So benefits to working short term is you're hitting on things that are trending right now and can be quick to respond to trends. Some of the downsides to that, though, are when you're a two-person team, you better hope there's no hiccups, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I talk a lot about the benefits of procrastinating because I think I could write a book on how amazing procrastinating is, but maybe not so much when you're trying to get stamps and dies out the door.
It does happen, but maybe that's when we come up with our best work.
Yeah.
We could say that.
No, well, we have worked on ideas for like, so for example, no, this is one of our current stamp sets that we released in May. We had stewed over that stamp set for a long time, and just nothing was coming together. And then, as we're chatting about how can this come together, I sketched that flower out, and Angie's like, that flower right there. She's like, that's going in the stamp set. And you would not believe how many dumb flowers I drew, you know. But then, it's just in those. Sometimes in your moments of desperation come the best inspiration, you know?
Yeah.
Put that in my book. Like that's
I will. That'll be on the credits for the movie.
Yes, yeah, no. But sometimes that's what it takes. And you guys probably all feel that too sometimes in like a creative you're in a creative drought and you don't know where you're gonna find any inspiration. Sometimes that desperation really does drive you, and this set has been wildly popular for us, and people probably don't know that all the struggle we took to get to there, and then like all the stuff that got thrown away before we got to that, and then that was just literally on a piece of like at the back of probably someone's invoice or something. Like we drew that and just scanned it in, and it was and now we love it.
What have been some of your most popular designs? I'm assuming the tree die.
It did very well for us.
Sophisticated script.
That's a great set.
Because none of us are Christina.
Exactly.
We all wish we could.
Greg is very good, though. Many of our stamp sets do have his hand lettering.
Like I did these in this set. I did the brushed script in our You Are Enough
Awesome.
set, and
Being classy. That's his handwriting. So don't let him fool you. He is very good. I'm super jealous at his ability.
Christina, I've watched your stuff for years. All your lettering stuff you make it look very easy, but no, and it's really phenomenal. So if you ever are gonna like teach a class locally, I will be there. Or if you want to just teach me, I will be there.
Well, I'm terrified to like teach a class in person. I'm so used to like preparing and then filming the video and like having control over the entire lesson that is being presented. Going live terrifies me, but hey, there are some live classes locally, and I sort of want to take one because even though I've been lettering a long time, it's always great to like see someone else's approach. So we should just take a class.
Yeah,
let's all go.
Tell me when you're going to.
I'm inviting myself.
Yeah, Angie's
I
going
am
to
too. I'm coming.
So if you do end up taking a class, let me know. That would be fun.
For sure.
But yeah, so
other successful things. The hugs die.
Oh, that's the best.
Love it. I hope there's more of those coming.
There are, in fact.
Oh, secret time.
What secret?
Oh, we're telling secrets. Ooh.
Oh, I thought you meant like actually like more inventory coming.
Oh.
We are working on it.
Oh well.
Oopsie.
I'm signing off now. No, just kidding. Yeah, we might be working on something.
There are more Hugs Dies coming, but there's also maybe Hugs 2.0 is what he's saying.
Is my face?
Okay. Is that approved for public release? I don't have to.
Or, yeah, go for it.
Sure.
Okay.
Nothing's
Are,
safe.
are we allowed to put in requests? Because I have some requests.
Yeah.
Can I leave my requests? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Over here or via email?
No, I'll do it on email.
Okay, yeah.
But if you don't like the ideas, nobody will know that they're bad ideas.
We're like, oh, not
I feel like
so
we're at a
much.
karaoke bar and you're like, do you take requests? Yeah, we'll be here all night. So.
Ask Christina. I text her several times a week saying, you know
Yeah.
what would be great? If we could have a stamp set that had this.
Mhm.
And sometimes she's like, good idea. And sometimes she's like, okay. And then we never
Sometimes that silence says everything, you know? I'll show Angie a design and she's like, "There," you know? And I'm like, I'll start over. I'll be right back.
Well, do you have any little? This is what I wanted to ask you, Greg, because you're such a high energy person. Do you have any little rituals that help you get unstuck if you're stuck like that?
It used to be Coke. I haven't been drinking soda for a while. But,
soda.
Yeah, I was gonna say Coca-Cola, right?
yeah. No, I don't
Okay.
do a line of Coke. Like, whatever. Coca-Cola. It used to be, like, you know, sometimes you just need a Coke. But music. I know sometimes people say music inhibits their creativity. For me, sometimes I tell Angela, I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to turn on my weird music. I don't know. I listen to very obscure, weird music, and
I'm totally fine with it if the designs turn out the way they do. I'll
Yeah.
listen to whatever.
so music sometimes helps me like just get into a place of like focus. Honestly, a ritual that we've been pretty consistent with is meeting at the public library to work, because I don't know, it's
To
the
get
only
away.
sound you hear occasionally is like a baby crying, and that doesn't bother me. And it's just away from the studio, and like, you know, and they have free Wi-Fi, so, and yeah,
We
actually,
unplug.
Yeah,
and go to the library.
we unplug, and sometimes we change it up. We're like, do you want to go meet at like the Orem Library today or the Draper Library? You know, we just, so sometimes that just helps when we're in a creative funk. We're too close to the source. We need to get out of here and find somewhere else to be
Focus.
inspired.
Yeah.
And
I have to go somewhere every morning or I can't start working. I have to get out of the house,
Yeah,
go get a cup of decaf coffee,
just recharge a little.
and something after I drop the kids off. I still need to go do something where it's just me, and then I can come work. I mean, working at home is a blessing, but
Yeah.
it's also one of the hardest things you'll ever do.
I could
Because
not
it's
agree
like,
more.
you think squirrel, I mean, it's like there are squirrels all around, you know? You're thinking, oh, I gotta do that, oh, I gotta do that. People come to the door, and then people assume since you're working from home that you aren't really working, so you can babysit. You know, so I get that. Sometimes you just gotta go somewhere else.
It's funny because people are like, oh, you're self-employed, so we're counting on you to be here to do this, blah, 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 go help so-and-so move. I'm actually busier than I've ever been in my whole life, you know. But it's funny, the assumption, like, people are like, oh, you work from home, so you're unemployed, right? Is that what you're saying?
Totally.
Yeah.
That's totally what everybody thinks. My parents, you know, when we were just talking about Father's Day, getting together for Father's Day, and my parents are like, oh, well, I mean, you can come on Monday, right? Like, you don't have a schedule. I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Sometimes it's hard to, what is nice, though, about being self-employed, too, though, is the flexibility also sometimes. Well, let's go on vacation at a non-peak time, or we haven't done that yet. We haven't done vacations, but but we can choose, you know, if we do need to take a Monday off, we can do that, and it's works. But so there's some flexibility that way, but not what everybody else thinks.
No. Well, how long are your days in general, just for people who want to, you know, an idea of that entrepreneur lifestyle?
It's
it's changed.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were first starting out, they were long days, but we've
12 hours or whatever consistently.
But
And
in office now, it's 8.
we try to work in office like a regular. We try to be as normal as possible that way, because I'm anxious to get home to my kids and my wife and things, have a little bit of the life outside of work, but we're really on most of the time. You know, it's really hard to disconnect these days with having our phones constantly buzzing and stuff, but it's not as frustrating when you're working for yourself. I found I'm much more happy to do something for Concord and Ninth than I ever was to answer a call after hours when I worked in a corporate environment. Cool, I'm taking this phone call so and so can, it's
Can be more successful, yeah.
Yeah.
And for the success of Concord and Ninth. And so we're much more inclined to, or if we have to do something on a Saturday or,
At this point, are your families very excited that you took the risk? Was it nerve-wracking for them at first, too?
Mine probably thought I was crazy. I mean,
your daughter probably
my
still thinks you're
daughter,
crazy.
my daughter probably still thinks I'm crazy. No, she recognizes that we are doing a good job, and I'm still paying the mortgage, so that's good. But I really did tell her in the beginning, like, I really honestly might need like 3 months. Give me 3 months, but it's been okay. And she's not a crafter, so she thinks I'm crazy anyway, and doesn't really stamp until she needs a card, and then she's like, "Oh, could you make me a wedding card?" But I think my parents were super supportive. They're just like, "Okay, if you say so," and
My wife is very risk averse, and that's good because I'm a little bit crazy. I always have something up my sleeve, and she'll come home and I've like started a house project and she's like, "Oh, okay, we're doing that? Okay." I'm just always kind of itching for like what's next, and I want to do something. I get bored with not being creative and stuff, and she saw how unhappy I was in my previous job. I was putting in similar hours, to what I do now. Both of us were. And I kind of told her, like when we first got married, I was like, I just have a feeling that someday I'm going to go off and do my own thing because I'm constantly I've just always kind of toyed around with that idea in my mind and never knowing if it would actually happen. And she just told me one day, just do it. I was like, whoa, this is coming from my very risk-averse wife. I have got to do this. So she's been so supportive since the inception of this idea, and my parents have been very supportive. They've always been supportive, and my father-in-law, this is actually kind of a funny story. He super supportive. He was actually an entrepreneur. He started his own business. He was in the insurance industry, and I talked to him just a lot about what does it take? How do you know how to do this? And how do you know how to do this? When you were starting your business, how did you know how to do this? And he said, and he kind of had mentioned, you learn by doing, and you ask questions. Asking is free. That's one thing we say all the time. Well, asking's free. If the answer's no, the answer's no. But anyway, so he's just been I think he's been really proud of like the successes that we've had, my father-in-law, and his office is actually near a paper source store. And so it's actually right next to a paper source store, and they carry our pop art pineapple stamp set right now, and so he went in there and he told all the workers there, this is my son-in-law's company, and he was really proud of it, and he bought the stamp set.
Aww.
And that my mother-in-law actually already bought it, but but he wanted his own. He bought a stamp set, he bought 2 ink pads, and he ordered an acrylic block because they didn't have the size that he needed in stock. And so my wife was actually down there a few weeks ago, and he got a phone call at lunch one day, and he's like, "Oh, it's Paper Source." So he picks up the phone. He goes, he's like, "My acrylic block is in." So he went and picked up his acrylic block, and they sent me pictures that night of him stamping and stuff. And it's just fun that our friends and family have been so supportive and believed in us, because when you have a lot of people watching, that's like the scariest time to fail. And we had a lot of old friends that we've worked with and things too, and I know they're watching, and you don't ever want to fail, but especially not when people you love are watching you, and when and everybody's just been awesome and very supportive and believed in us and continue to. And
Well, do you have any secrets you want to tell us? Just the three of us?
Just the three of you?
Yeah.
Well, what about me?
No, I mean you and Jennifer.
No, wait, what?
Me and you and Jennifer.
Oh, you mean that three? I thought you meant you and Greg and Angie. I was all, we're here too.
Now, Christina, could you take your earbuds out? We don't want you to hear this.
Christina, we'll go to lunch with you someday, and we'll fill you in on all the secrets. All right?
Okay.
So, like, what secrets?
Like
what do you want to know?
Products? Is that
Yeah, you got any hints of what's to come from?
Well, we are bringing this back.
Yay!
It's going to be in a little bundle with a stamp set that's really cute that can make like tags, because you want to make a ton of these trees, but then you want to give them away, and so we thought, let's have a little set that's great for little tags you can tie into the tree, and then people can get festive.
A little Christmas in July, if you
Yeah, we have a little bit of Christmas in July. We
did give away another secret already. Hugs 2.0.
Hugs 2.0, yeah. We're
I'm excited.
yeah, that one's gonna be good, and
I'm excited to see it too.
it hasn't been designed yet. That was Angie's subtle way of saying, get on that. No.
Well, the 9th is coming up before you know it, so.
Yeah. We have an idea of another holiday idea that we have that we're working on, and it's still very much in like a concept stage. It's kind of a little more of like a interactive kind of card. It will ship in a standard size envelope, ship flat, but it has a little bit of like a display type feature about it, if you will, like something that would be fun to put on like a little, on your desk or on your mantle. You like to display a card, but this will be a non-traditional card type thing, and we think it will be.
If our idea works out.
It will work out. It's all up to right now. It's all engineering. It's all
You just challenged him right there.
Yeah, that sounds exciting.
Don't cross me. No, it'll work.
Now, do you always release stamps and dies when you have a release?
We have.
We have.
Have we ever just done stamps?
I don't think so. We've had at least one die, I think.
I think we've always had stamps and dies, and then, especially in the last like 6 months, it's all been stamps and dies. We have not had time to think more about expanding into other lines and things and what makes sense. We've sold like a lot of those little baby sequin strands and stuff, and
Oh, those are so cute. I love those tiny sequins.
they're cute, and
The Happy Hues card packs do well. And, I mean, yes, we always think of what else can we add to the mix, but right now we're really busy doing what we can to, and we actually really don't mind coming out with our releases on the 9th of the month in small bite-sized chunks. So
yeah, if we're gonna do monthly releases, we're trying to make it as coordinated. Like, I mean, it doesn't mean that this little bundle of products and this little bundle of products work together, but if we're gonna come out with a die, like, how can it work well with like a stamp so that somebody really can create projects with it, and that it's not just this random standalone die, random standalone. We're trying to think through the coordination factor and where possible, cross-pollinate. So if we have a bundle of a stamp and die here and a bundle of a stamp and die here, can any of those work together? And so
I appreciate small releases too, just my budget. I mean, because then you can buy everything and not feel bad about it.
Well, and we realize that people, like, they're loyal to many brands and things, and we don't want to overwhelm. Like, what's enough to keep us busy and keep us in business? Because that's the point. Is like, we're not in business just for fun. We have a livelihood that we need. We need to take care of things, and so yeah, what's enough to keep Concord and Night running, but not too much to overwhelm the customers and supporters of Concord and Night. But
Well, I gotta say, there were 3 things that right out of the gate impressed me. A few minutes ago, I had all 3 in my mind. It might now be 2 because I might have forgotten. The first one, I will never forget. I was sitting at my son's baseball practice, And I opened up my email, which I don't normally do, and I don't remember why it was I brought it. I was probably on some time crunch. And I got an email from you guys. And I had heard of you briefly, and I think it was from Lydia that I heard of you. And it was the kindest email I had ever received from a company. I mean, I get nice emails from companies that are new or whatever often, but this was like, there was something very humble and impressive about it. And I responded immediately. And I told you guys I had to share.
Because we were like, oh my gosh, Jennifer responded to us. We're like so small potatoes. This was really nice.
What you guys said was just so genuine. It was just, I don't know. You know how sometimes you get an email and it was like it just hit the spot. It just hit the spot. And I told you guys about the Share Handmade Kindness challenge that I was going to be doing soon. And you jumped on board. Like, you didn't know me very well, and you were willing to be a part of it. And you were the first package of giveaway stuff that I received. And you put Share Handmade Kindness on the package in your beautiful lettering. And I was so impressed. And then you guys also jumped in, and you had like a bundle on your site that was promoting the kindness and all that. And I just, those were two of my three things combined. One was the nice email, one was how you jumped on board with the kindness campaign. And it was like effortless, and I appreciate that. I think that's why you're seeing the success you are, because of the kindness that you're putting back out there. And I remembered the third. The third thing is, like, I like to mix different companies together. Like, I'll use Hero Arts with Concord and Ninth, with Mama Elephant. I like to mix things up. And I put up a project with Hero Arts stencils, and your Everybody Deserves a Friend Like You Die.
Yeah.
And you left a nice comment. And not all companies would do that. Like, I see you leave comments on things that have nothing to do with Concord and Ninth, and I think that adds so much kindness in the industry. And most, don't get me wrong, like you said, all these companies are very good, but you take the time to do that too, and I think that is commendable. And so I appreciate that kindness that you're putting into this industry and out into the world. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
That's nice.
That was really, really nice. Thank you. We just we'll return that.
And you'll always be special to me, because now I know that I finally got to enable the Queen of Enablers into a product.
Hey, you have
Red Letter Day.
2 times, big time. That, and then the stencil brushes.
Yes, the stencil brushes.
Well, no, there's been more than that, actually. But when you enable me, it's like not just with one stamp set. You enable me with something very expensive or an entire line.
I'm proud of that. I wear that with pride.
Lydia, you, like, seriously, I don't know how you stay so connected, but everyone knows you, and it's like, I don't know, I'm just...
She's like, well, have you talked to this person and this person?
Yeah, it's really something. It really is something.
Awesome.
My first interaction with Lydia, I don't know if we've mentioned this on Crafty Chat or not before. What was it, 2007, 2006? I can't remember. Yeah. When I graduated from college, I got a DSLR, and then I was upgrading a couple years later, and I just posted on my blog, like, hey, does anyone want to buy my camera? And Lydia responded and bought my camera. And I didn't know her. I think I recognized your name from, Split Coast or whatnot, but bought the camera, and then I guess it was maybe 6 months later or something, I was at CHA, and you stopped me. I didn't know what you looked like. You stopped me, and you're like, hey, look, I have your camera. And I was like, okay, crazy. Yeah, hey, that is the camera that I used to use. Like, you have the same camera? She's like, no, this is your camera. I'm Lydia. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, you're easy to stalk, Christina, because I'm 5'3", so I can see you anywhere. You're easy to pick out because you're taller.
Christina is super tall.
Yeah.
I'm not that tall. I'm only 5'9".
Well, when you're 5'3", like Lydia and I, that's tall.
Are you 5'3" as well?
It was nice in that picture at CHA lunch to have another tall. Like, I was like, man, there are a lot of not tall people in this picture. So, thank you for sharing the tallness.
You're welcome.
Tall people rule. No.
We're jealous, trust me.
All right, well, that concludes our chat with Concord and Ninth. Thank you so much, Greg and Angie. You guys always make me laugh. I think everybody saw me wiping my eyes the whole time because I cry when I laugh. But you guys just have such a positive spirit, and you're so much fun to be around. And of course, I love everything you make. My craft room is full of it. So thanks for spending time with us today. We really appreciate it. And tell everyone again where they can find you on the internet.
Well, first, thank you guys for this. This was such a fun experience for us. We were really excited for the invitation to do this.
Very excited.
So you can find us at www.concordandninth.com. That's where our shop is, and our blog is also linked there. And you can actually find all of our social media links there too. But we are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter,
Pinterest,
so YouTube. So all of our links though are there in our shop. So again, www.concordandninth.com.
And hold on real quick. I encourage you to check out the blog because they do a really good job getting guest artists and putting up cards themselves. So there are a lot of really unique ideas. And since a lot of your projects are products are really well thought out and well engineered, it's fun to see how you guys put it together too. It's always inspiring. So be sure to check out their website.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yes, it's been very kind of you to chat with us and put up with our crazy talk.
We like it.
Thanks for a peek into the East inventory room too. I appreciate that. The East warehouse.
Anytime. Whenever you guys are in Utah, come by the office. We'll
cram in there.
On the 30-second tour.
All right, guys. Well, that is it for this week. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.